GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. It's Monday, December 13th, and welcome to the National Outlook. I would hope that you had a pleasant weekend, and we are looking forward to a healthy and safe week ahead. I can tell you to come in here, and I'm coming in earlier by about a half an hour. The traffic is horrendous. And this is before the 13th. It's horrendous throughout every street, and it's only going to get worse. But we go. U.S. government calls on Guyana to stamp out corruption. Says private sector actors must also answer for any role in corrupt practices. I think that's a good thing, and I applaud the U.S. government for such a stance, to stamp out corruption. To stamp out means to walk all over it, to smash it into dust. That's what stamp out means to me in terms of corruption. Is that going to happen? Well, don't hold your breath. But here's this. Corruption threatens security, hinders economic growth, and siphons away public and private resources, the United States Ambassador, Her Excellency, Miss Sarah Ann Lynch. And I think that that is well said also, and it is also welcomed. But we're not going to get anywhere very far. What I'd like to see, with due respect and due deference to the ambassador, and to her role here, they can only go so far, but I'm using the standard that the US government said, and the British government, and the European governments, and all the other governments that came here during last year, the 19 months leading up to our elections and after, in the aftermath, the 5 months delay, and when they had their sleeves rolled up, they had their shirt tails out, and they had their hair all astray because they were so involved in our elections. I think it was a good thing, and I applaud that too, especially given that the results are supposedly free and fair, although some people dispute that. But we're not talking about elections. We're talking about corruption here. And what I'd like to see on the National Outlook, and I put before you, my fellow Guyanese, is that the same intensity, the same single-mindedness of purpose that the A, B, C, and E countries, all very advanced and very powerful, put into elections, they can put into corruption and to help stamp out, and to call for it, and insist upon it, and demand it. Now, I don't want to hear anybody telling me, well, that would be interference and internal meddling. Nobody cared about that during elections. I care about it in corruption because we've got to live with it and we pay for it. You and I, the taxpayers. Every time you buy something and they charge you 14% VAT or whatever it is, we're paying for corruption. You know why? Because the VAT should not be so high if we get our projects done cleanly and on time, and without cost overruns. What to stamp out is strong enough, but to have it so far apart, it's too tame, it's too limp, and it's too little. The U.S. ambassador should know by now from her security briefings the people who are involved in corruptions in this country. In my own little exchanges at the U.S. Embassy, I am familiar with what was going on and who were involved. The U.S. ambassador knows. The U.S. government knows. And they know how close those people were to the previous government, and how close they are to this current government. So we're not going to stamp out corruption when we have these players in government, in state agencies, and in the private sector that they say must play a role in corrupt practices. You're talking about the fox watching over the hen house. You're talking about the cat and the milk. and on and on and on. So let's get real here. Yes, it's a good speech, but let's stop pontificating. Let's stop preaching and start doing. Call upon these people and press them, the government, the president, the vice president, and that would not be meddling. Say, you've got to clean up your act, and you got to get real, buddy, or in diplomatic parlance, you've got to get real, honorable sirs and gentlemen. Until the next time, I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Thank you for listening to the National Outlook.